And if I were to give you updates, I would just say that I'm painting. I'm focused on me. I do have dates that I'll be back in Philly. I have a ton of podcasts that are coming out. I have like 5 guest interviews that I'm editing, which takes a while. And then also like finishing the artwork with the planner, which I have a strict deadline for because we have pre-orders and we have people like on deadlines and stuff. And I also want to talk about AlignMe for a second because I know that I've been promoting this. I've been talking about Quantum Leap Week. I've been talking about AlignMe. I want to talk about AlignMe. This program was on my heart to create. It was like the very first inkling of an idea that ever came to me in my business. It was when I was in Waxhaw, 2019, with my dad, and I was rebuilding my life from scratch in a place where I had a vision and I had a dream, but it wasn't here yet. And I had had a life that I've stepped away from because it didn't feel right anymore. And I realized that in the year that I put my life back together, there was like this very specific process that followed and like this order of operations, if you will, which was like the health, the career, the relationships. And I noticed this and I like kind of recorded it, and then like I would keep getting new jobs and moving to different cities and stuff. And I didn't actually launch the program. Like I launched it a few times, but it wasn't actually like launched with signups, and like the first live round was December of last year. And I got the best feedback from the program in terms of like all of it. Like I say it's the best thing I've ever created because it feels like it flowed through me. It had been on my heart for so long, and the way that I would describe it is like AlignMe. It's the sacred container of total life alignment that you can go through anytime you're being stretched in a place of transition. Anytime that you're experiencing something in your life where you're like, okay, I'm ready to go to the next level, but beyond that, I'm ready to go to the next level in all of these areas of my life. And relationships aren't just romantic relationships. We've had people who are married, we've had people with kids, we've had people who are single go through the program. I would say the most important common link is just this desire and this willingness where you're like, I'm ready. There's like these rebuilding energy, but it feels like you're ready to approach your life from a new energy. And you're ready to step into like total life alignment is really like the way that I would describe it. I would say like the problems that someone would be facing who's currently like considering this program or thinking about aligning. My brows been up this whole time. That's like whatever. I would say somebody who, if you feel like you're at a crossroads or you feel like you've had a dream, it's really hard for you to specifically manifest like the one thing that you've been wanting. Like for me, for a long time, that felt like relationships, but it was like I never would start there. Like for me, this felt like a really aligned way to shift my conscious energy so that I wasn't energetically overloading the area that like quote unquote wasn't working. And it just like blasted the energy from all sides. Like this program has just helped people unlock the craziest things in terms of gaining visibility, in terms of like prioritizing themselves after entering a new stage of life and like being a mom. And there's also been people in the program who have just been like single and focused on their career. And that's the beautiful part about it, is that the commonality is just this desire and like this deeper calling, this like understanding that there is more to be had through life, and not more in terms of more externally, like a richness and a deepness and like a better way about manifesting the things that you want. Like I would call it a manifestation program, but it's so much deeper than that. It combines like the witchy and the spiritual and the calendar, obviously, like in terms of there's intention setting, and it's very much like a sacred container that you're entering when you're signing up and approaching this program. Like it starts with an intention ceremony, and you enter a container throughout this program. And it starts out like with your health in terms of like intuitively checking in with what is going to be your most aligned workout and what is going to feel aligned on a body level, and like the nervous system regulation and understanding the subconscious rewiring. And I walk you through all the tools that we use throughout the program so that you have a deep understanding of why they're effective and why they work. And I created this so that it's something that you can continually revisit anytime that you're up leveling. So it starts in the same order that I had put my life together and that I follow every single time I find myself not just at a rock bottom moment, but at like a precipice of change. Like I would not go through a change without going through this, because this process is what helps you anchor in, normalize, and create the change so that it does feel safe to your nervous system, which basically just means you don't self-sabotage it. You don't approach new energy from an old state of consciousness, so that you normalize your desires and your new level becomes your new normal. And then the meat of the program is really the purpose section, where we kind of break out career and finance, but it's all about anchoring into what you desire and what you deserve. And from there, it translates into your relationships. It follows a really natural flow. And I'm excited because I'm launching a new live round of the program where I'm going to be adding a few calls for support. Like you'll get instant access to the digital content. So as soon as you enroll in the program, you're going to get access to week 1. It is a 6-week program. And so I'll be adding a new module. Time is the module. And so the first call that will be added to the program is September 21st. And that's just going to be additional based on whether or not you've already started the program. It's not going to be redundant. It's not going to be another intention setting ceremony. So it's designed so that it is a digital course that you have access to from the moment that you sign up, but you'll also get this continuation because you're signing up when we're doing this live launch of it. And there's going to be an additional call on the 21st, which is with the new moon. And then there's going to be an additional new module added, which is going to be based on time. Additionally, you'll be getting Quantum Leap Week as a bonus added to AlignMe. And if you sign up before September 1st, you're going to get a one-on-one call with me. The other thing that I really was thinking about, and just in terms of where I really want to make the biggest difference in helping people, is also just deepening in the one-on-one work, and specifically with people who are purpose-driven right now, where there's a purpose that you're pursuing, that you're calling in, or something you're looking to create in your life where you feel like it's been out of reach, or it's been difficult, or you're going through the motions, or you're at a crossroads and you aren't sure where to go next. This is where I can really help you get to the root of what you're desiring on a subconscious level and normalize it within your body so that you can take steps towards the life that you're desiring without it feeling like you're attacking yourself or having like anxious flare-ups, or just that, like when you don't have a regulated nervous system and you try to make these changes, it's taking the long road. And I've just lived this. This has been the deepest part of my transformation. And it was not easy to go from leaving a multiple 6-figure corporate tech job to leading meditations and coaching clients on the internet and putting myself out there in ways that had previously felt so unsafe. Like I was so scared of the way that I was perceived. And moreover, it was a really big block for me to believe that what I had to say was valuable. I would doubt myself every time that I posted something. I would question it. And for the longest time, I questioned my desire. Like I just felt like an idiot for wanting to walk away from something that so many people would pray for. And even like I would see people who are in tech careers and I would get triggered of like, why did I do this? Like, why was this so important? And it wasn't until I rewired that within myself that I finally was able to just say, like, I don't care what the outcome of this is, because this is too important to keep going through the motions and pretending that I want less than I actually want out of my life. And I don't view purpose necessarily as just being related to career. It's an embodiment. But when you are out of alignment in your career, it makes it really hard to be purposeful elsewhere in your life, because oftentimes there can be financial restrictions, but a lot of times this dysregulation is triggered by things that are out of alignment. And so when you get into alignment with who you're here to be, and more honestly, alignment is like your desires, your thoughts, your actions, and your energy are all facing the same direction. The way you're showing up to your life is actively creating the life that you want, as opposed to feeling like you have one foot on the gas, one foot on the brakes, and you're constantly stopping yourself. And I do believe that the greatest transformation will come from one-on-one support, which is why I want to offer an incentive if you sign up this weekend specifically, where you'll get AlignMe in addition. This is the cheat code, is when you're doing both at the same time, where you have support to the resources. You can basically access this support anytime that you want, but you also have me one-on-one walking you through this and helping to support you through what specifically you are facing in terms of challenges. This is how I made it through. When I left corporate, my nervous system was on fire. It was what I had wanted for so long, but then I just couldn't get rid of this sense of like being so afraid that I couldn't do it, being so afraid of like losing everything in the aftermath of what had happened. And do you want to know what? That is what happened, but it wasn't until today that I finally had the realization that I needed to reframe how I viewed success and how I viewed failure. Because I was like, that wasn't a failure. And I was like, I am the most resilient person I've ever met in my life. Anyone else would have given up, and I will never give up, because this is too important to humanity. Like, genuinely, the people that I am here to help are not going to get to where they want to go unless I stand firm in who I am and I own up to the fact of how important this is. Because this is that serious. There's a version of me that's still hiding in a conference room, and maybe she feels more successful because she's still getting her whatever paychecks every week. But I was spending it on things that didn't feel like I felt deprived. And so that came out in other ways. And I feel like it feels so freeing and liberating to no longer need that externally, where I'm like, I have created so much more peace and fulfillment in my life. I look at the pictures that I used to take when I was in the unaligned conference rooms, and I'm like, I haven't felt that way. Even on my most darkest days, like my most unaligned days, like there's not this crazy rewiring that I have to do. Like, I feel peace because I know I'm on the right path. And that, like, you can regulate your nervous system all you want, but if you're just lying to yourself about how unhappy you are, there comes a point where you actually just need to follow through on what you're being intuitively guided towards. If you're feeling the sense of dissatisfaction, it's not because you're ungrateful or you should just like suck it up. It's just the way that things are. There is the economy, whatever. I don't believe that. I believe that you create your reality, and all realities are available to you at any given moment. And if you have this calling, whether it's pursuing your creative arts, whether it's like expressing yourself more freely in your life, whether it's just pursuing your passions and actually making a livelihood out of them, my goal is for you to be who you are, like to turn the percentage up on your self-expression and to make it so that the way that you're spending your time is in alignment with who your soul actually wants you to be. Like who you want to be on a soul level, not who you've been conditioned to believe you need to be because of preconceived limitations. Those limitations aren't real. It's not real. It's just in your mind. It's your conditioning. And you can choose what you believe to be true. And through this old lens, I was looking at it through the old metrics of success, the New York City apartment, the multiple six figures without really having to do that much, the client dinners, the trips. And I just I knew in my soul I would get that back, but I was no longer willing to accept those things from a place that didn't feel aligned. And I'm not going to lie to you and say that like I haven't applied for jobs and that it's been a cakewalk and easy and that I'm just like down with the humble path. Like this has been the hardest thing that I've ever tried to do in terms of how challenging it's been, but in terms of like the parts of myself I've had to face to truly create success in this area. And I have no regrets because that is nothing compared to the pain of being on the wrong path. Because when you're on the wrong path, you know that you are wasting your most precious resource, and that is time. I look at my life when I was unaligned and I wasn't making the choices that my soul wanted to make, and it was just so much energy was wasted, like feeling like there were two separate expressions of me that were at odds with one another. And I don't think you necessarily need to do this by like quitting and going all in. I think that this comes from getting so crystal clear on what's important to you and becoming that person. The way that my coaching helps you do this is it follows a specific framework where we set the intentions of who you're choosing to become, and it moves into this process of actually integrating. I follow a very specific flow where I guide you through the energetic work. We do breath work, somatic release, Reiki, and actually like guide you through the intention that you're setting. Because as soon as you actually commit to yourself and you put money on the line and you say, I am unwilling to continue living this way, I'm ready for an up level, everything does shift. When you pay and you're like, I am ready and I am no longer to continue like living this way, it automatically changes. It really, like, I've invested probably $100,000 at this point, like over the years. But it changes just from that initial decision that like you are ready and you are going to make a change in your life. But the real work comes from sticking with your commitment and actually finally releasing the parts of you that don't feel like it's possible or don't feel like you're good enough. And I used to have some blocks around this, like in terms of positioning the services, because I was like, okay, like, what if people don't get it? Like the subconscious mind, what if they don't understand? And through this process of what I've put myself through these past few years, where I faced some of the most challenging situations for my ego. It's been so hard on an ego level, but it's been a breeze on a soul level. And that level of challenge is just a different game, because I was able to face the parts of myself that only felt good because of the external gains. And I was able to heal them because I loved myself in spite of losing the things that my ego wanted the most. And the craziest part is that as soon as I just followed the path and went with it, I was instantly happier. And that's what I want for you, because you think that like you're scared to lose these things, but they're not losses because of what you gain by choosing to show up to your life as who you actually are and what you actually want, and taking your desires seriously. And instead of using your energy to worry about what goes wrong, or to question if you can do this, to question if you're cut out for this, to question like who you are to want it, to question like why you want it, and you actually just put all that energy towards like, I deserve this, I'm worthy of this, I'm going to go after this, I don't care what the external is showing me because I know who I am. That's when your life actually shifts, and that's when you actually experience a different expression, where even if you're challenged, it's okay, because you know you get to look back on your life and feel proud of yourself for going for the things that were important to you. And I say this because I've lived it. Like, I know, oh, you're laying on paint, baby. I hope that it dried. So AlignMe doors are open. If you purchase AlignMe, you can get a credit towards one-on-one coaching. It's included. Or if you're just looking to sign up for private coaching, I'm adding extra slots onto my calendar if you want to schedule a discovery call. Otherwise, I'm just going to include the links. Reach out to me, send me a note on Instagram. This was completely impromptu, but I feel like this message just really needed to flow through. This was like really important to say. This is really on my heart. And I just have had so many conversations with people who are like, you're so brave, I could never do what you did. And it's like, yes, you could. You just need to decide that you believe in yourself enough to take your desires seriously. And if you want a guide to help you get there, I am undoubtedly the best person to help you. So I can't wait to see what you do next.